Now, here for this fifth death match, we have a very, very interesting clash indeed, ladies and gentlemen. Coming in from the left side, we have that young pirate who is a supernova with the 400 million barrel bounty. This young pirate who is very successful and is known throughout the world is on a quest to become the Pirate King. He is none other than Straw Hat Monkey D. Luffy. And coming in from the right side, we have the Bishokuya, who is amazing in potential of what he can be. This young man is one of the most powerful people in his universe, in his world. This young man has the potential to be one of the greatest, most powerful characters in fiction history. He is none other than Toriko. Let us begin. Now, ladies and gentlemen, over the last year, maybe last 2 years, this has become a very, very popular debate amongst manga readers, okay? And to some degree, anime fans. Who indeed would win? This ain't quite as heated as some. For example, the Monkey D. Luffy versus Uzumaki Naruto clash. But it's quite heated. And there's a lot of people who are picking Toriko over Luffy, for example. And obviously there's a lot of people picking Luffy over Toriko. But in this death match, as in my previous death matches, which you'll be able to see in the links in the description, if you may, I will bring the analysis to bring a proper conclusion to the question of who would win in a death match. And in case those who are not aware, this is a death match, meaning someone would kill. So obviously no ties. Someone comes out the victor, hands down, no holds barred. We going in. Let's go. Now, in each death match, I split each character's attributes into, their skills and all that jazz, into 3 different categories. And each category will be broken down into a few or several subcategories. First is the attack category. It is broken down into 4 different subcategories. What are they? We're talking about strength, that is physical strength. We're talking about speed. We're talking about techniques, and we're also talking about destructive capacity / power. Now, coming into the strength, Monkey D. Luffy, we've seen glimpses of how strong he actually is, and he's not a pushover. 3 times skip. We're talking Water 7 arc. We saw him clearly being able to push apart skyscrapers, so we know this young man's got power. I mean, post-time skip, all his stats have shot ridiculously nuts. And mind you this death battle is doing current, what we know of in the manga thus far. Just being real, that's the only fair way you can do this. No future potential jazz, nah, we doing straight up fair in the manga thus far. Now, once again, he can push across skyscrapers. How strong is he actually is yet to be determined. Now we go to Toriko. Toriko's character is built about strength. It's built around strength, period. It's built around raw physical power and strength. This dude, we've only seen glimpses here and there of what he's actually able to do. But when you compare the two, and we compare their character, not their character designs, but their character makeups, you gotta give the slight edge to Toriko in the strength category. So Toriko's up 1-0 in the attack category. Now, when we go to speed, this isn't much of a contest, to be honest with you. When you look at Luffy is definitely at times hypersonic, especially if you hear his gear second. He goes hypersonic. Once again, Toriko his character is built around strength and power. It is not built around speed. Toriko's speed attribute, hey, he's not slow. I'm guaranteed to move at we'll say superhuman speeds, but it's not spectacular. How do we know? Because Toriko, Coco, and Sonny couldn't get out the way of the four beasts, and they had to be saved by Zebra. And how fast did he go? The speed of sound. We also see Tengu Grunchi using his specific lightning abilities, being able to move fast. But even him, in normal state, can't move that fast. This is a clear advantage to Luffy, so we're 1-1. Now let's move on to techniques. Let's look at Luffy's techniques. Luffy has a boatload of techniques. As I said in the Luffy versus Naruto matchup, Deathmatch, Luffy has 20 to 25 techniques, including gear second and gear third. His base techniques, you got the Goma Goma no pistol, the Goma Goma no whip, the Goma Goma no bell, the Goma Goma no gatling, the Goma Goma no rifle. Y'all get the drift. He's got like 20 to 25 techniques. When we look at Toriko is not without a boatload of techniques himself. He's got the nail gun. He has the Kuge punch and various rings on that Kuge punch. He's got the leg boomerang. He's got the fork cannon. He's got the fork and knife. He's got a bunch of techniques. So overall, they're equal when it comes to techniques. How many? I'll get more into depth later. But Toriko keeps evolving techniques and adapting his, new honed abilities. As well as we can also add, he has food armor, which refines, and which will come into play later with stamina. It refines, his usage, and it allows him to explore more, and, eventually his monster go missing. But, future stuff. Now, so right now we're still tied in the attack category. When we look at destructive capacity, you look at Luffy, he is definitely Large Island, if not mountain level. It's debatable whether it is. People want to debate it. I say he's mountain level, but it is what it is. Because you can look back at Fishman Island for prime example. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, you look at what he was doing to Noah. Noah was at least half the size of Fishman Island, which is Large Island. He was about to wreck that, So, and it was said to be like 5,000 meters tall. So, I understand that's like mountain level, y'all. Just being real. Now we look at Toriko. Toriko clearly has destroyed small mountains, clearly. And so, overall, once again, as I presented what Toriko's character is built around strength and raw power, I have to give the edge to Toriko. How much more powerful is debatable, but Toriko is definitely, according to Cooking Island, Zebra and many on it, definitely Large Island mountain level. How much more than that, we don't know yet. But, because like strength, we still have yet to see what they're fully capable of now. Because most of the time, they don't go out destroying and wrecking islands and stuff like that. They go out and fight powerful foes. And now we move on into the defense category. And in the defense category, we'll break it down into 4 subcategories as is my custom. Reaction time, durability, stamina, and agility. Now with reaction time, when we look at it, Luffy, I failed to mention of his techniques, the 3 types of hockey. Observation hockey, armaments hockey, and conquerors hockey or conquering teams hockey. Depends on how you want to say it. When you look at it, with his reaction time, he's always had excellent, if not phenomenal, reaction time. Added to the fact he had observation hockey, his reaction time is generally on the edge of phenomenal. I mean, this dude, as was witnessed by the pacifista shooting easily, too slow. Now, he does get caught off guard, but people need to realize that's when he gets either number 1 cocky, he gets a bit cocky at times. Well, number two, he doesn't, and here's where the most part with Caesar Clown, he doesn't take a fight seriously. He's not focused. When he gets focused, it's over with all. I mean, he goes on to this other level stuff. He beats, for example, a Sir Crocodile. Shichibu guy. He beats another Shichibu guy, Gecko Moria. For example, when he goes into serious mode. Now, when we look at Toriko has an okay to decent reaction time. We've seen him be able to avoid, for example, Green Pat shooting his air bazooka and whatnot. I mean, that was way back, but y'all get what I'm saying. But as far as reaction time, this is a clear favorite to Luffy. So, in the defense category, Toriko edge Luffy on the attack board. In the defense category, Luffy's up one. Now, when we look at durability, both these guys are like human tanks. They tank so much damage. Literally. Luffy, my lord, this dude battles. This dude be getting hit with a boatload of stuff, okay? This man's been on the brink of death numerous times, several times. At least a dozen times, okay? This man, he survived poison, hormonal treatment he had to have. This man, he almost was killed by a freaking magma fist, okay? This man, that Rob Lucci fight where he was completely exhausted and he couldn't move. So much his man's going through. Toriko, no less. I mean, Arnold in the Tommy Rock fight. And he's exhausted, he almost died. He almost was killed there, if not saved by Tepe. In this recent arc, in the Cooking Island arc, or most recent, now we're moving on, but y'all get what I'm saying. I mean, Stars and what he did to him, have his body, all that gone. Now, how he got it back, we're still not completely certain of how that's happening in the manga. But you understand what I'm saying? There's other stuff. He's taking plenty of punishment. So overall, I have to say they're equal when it comes to terms of durability. So currently, Luffy's still up in defense. Now, when we go to stamina, we look at stamina. Luffy's a monster. There's no, when he gets in that focus, this dude will go till death, period. There's no more. This dude has fought and fought and fought. For example, Sir Crocodile, he fought him thrice, and he was still willing to go. Lucci fight, we've only seen Luffy go all out and be completely exhausted a couple of times. That Rob Lucci fight was long as a mug, and he had been fighting that whole way through the island. Y'all understand what I'm saying? Luffy, he's a monster. He's a real monster. Now, Toriko's got good stamina, don't get me wrong, but we've only ever seen him fight, short battles, relatively short battles, especially top tier dudes. When he's fighting top tier or mid tier, they've been relatively short battles. When he's fought in, strong beasts, decent battles. It's not like the battles are 2 seconds long. They're decently length battles. Now, Stars in battles decently length, but in comparison, you gotta give it to Luffy. Now, when you look at Toriko, why do you gotta give the stamina to Luffy? Because it's not super, widespread. But you look at Toriko with the calorie consumption. Okay. Now that war is refined because of food on him. But here's the thing about it, and it'll reflect on the agility. Toriko, his fighting style, he tanks more than he evades. That's just what it is. So that also helps determine stamina, okay? That zaps your stamina. And when we look at agility, this is clear. This isn't even a contest. It is Luffy all the way. Why do I say that? Luffy, Luffy, look at him from day one. His agility's already been through the roof. Added to the fact of observation hockey, you could kind of say, he would expect, Luffy just shows in his rubber ability, everything about him, he just shows agility. Toriko, His character does not rely on agility. It's not he's completely non-agile. It's okay, but he takes a lot of damage straight up. It be on some slugfest. Luffy, he can tank damage, but, and especially with his rogue ability, but he often is coming up against powerful dudes with various abilities. He can't keep taking damage, so he evades. He's often come up against dudes who are clearly more powerful than him. Toriko not so much at this point, for a few different reasons. So agility, clearly Luffy. So in the defense category, it is clear Luffy has the better defensive capabilities. Now we go into the final category, which is strategy, and is broken down into 3 subcategories: location, fighting style, and fighting IQ. Now with location, neither of these fighters, it really doesn't matter. Both have fought on various spots. Luffy, a lot of times at sea on boats, he's fought on land. He's even fought underwater 10,000 meters. Even though with his devil fruit abilities a weakness, at the same time, he's fought on water. You understand what I'm saying? Toriko hasn't really fought in water. Toriko's fought in the jungle. He's fought in different places. So location isn't, you could say if it was a water battle, but you don't really see Toriko fight in the water either. So we don't know how he would fight. So location, it's not really going to be much of a factor in this one. Okay, like it has been in the past. Now when we look at fighting style, Luffy, I have often stated, as I stated in his bout against Naruto, he is arguably the greatest freestyle fighter ever. And in my recollection of at least manga, he's the greatest freestyle fighter in manga. And what do I mean by freestyle? He doesn't have a definite form, but he's constantly he's thrown. He has no really predictable pattern at this point. He's constantly making up new techniques. Now when we look at Toriko's fighting style, and to add that both of these fighters are close to mid-range fighters. Okay, Luffy has 1-2 attacks. He's Gummo Rocket, which an attack. But he does have the bazooka, long range attack. Now Toriko, he's got a lot, the boomerang, leg boomerang and whatnot, leg foot. He's got a few long range attacks, but he's mainly close to mid-range fighter. Okay. He's a lot of hand-to-hand combat, unorthodox hand-to-hand combat, I might add. He, projection with not appetite energy, but a variant of appetite energy, projectile kind of things with his force and eyes. Mainly, he uses the force and eye thing. He also, his fighting style, it's an evolutionary thing. And that's the thing you gotta understand. What makes Toriko so special? He continually evolves, not just adapts. He evolves. Now, in the Toriko world, the gourmet cells do evolve. Understand? But Toriko takes that to another level, kind of thing. Like literally, his whole fighting style is evolutionary. That's what it is. Now, when we look at fighting IQ, Luffy, as I've often stated, and he is a fighting genius for reasons I explained in the Naruto video. His fighting IQ, he's simply a fighting genius. And I put a video as to what a fighting genius is. From experience, he's one of the most experienced fighters, and that will continue. You look at his adaptability, it's up there with the great ones. You look at his natural talent, it's pure madness, and you can go on and on. His fighting IQ, he is constantly having to deal with different opponents with different abilities and powers, and at different levels. Okay, he doesn't just fight weak and build up from there. He's fighting weak and strong. Okay, he's fighting combatants and non-combatants. You understand what I'm saying? He has to continually. Now he does sometimes. The thing about him though, it does take him sometimes a while to figure out his opponent. But once he does, it's over. You can pretty much. That's all she wrote. unless the opponent is just so much more powerful than is. For example, Aokiji before the was it the water set? Was it Sky Pit? Anyway, y'all remember he's when Aokiji just showed him up pre-time skip. Now when we look at Toriko, it's hard to say what level his fighting IQ is at this point. I can't go so far as to say he's a fighting genius yet. I cannot. We shall see. We need more to see from Toriko. But what I will say is he has a very, very high fighting IQ. He's vastly experienced in combat. As a Bishoku, and as a damn good one of the top 10. 4 Heavenly King Toriko. But so fighting IQ won't be that big of a factor actually in this one, as opposed to what it was in, for example, Luffy's bout with Naruto. But overall, who comes out? Hands down, I have to give this deathmatch to Monkey D. Luffy. Here's the reasoning why. A lot of people want to bring up about Toriko's power, and that's good. If he connects enough times, hell yeah, it's going to do some mad damage on Luffy. Even though Luffy has similar, you could say, destructive capacity and maybe similar strength. Here's the thing, man. Toriko's attacks are brutal. Simply put, brutal. You have to be absolutely top tier in his war to be able to tank his attacks. Stage, Midor, Ichirayu, who's dead. Jiro, y'all get the drift. Or you have to at least be 4 Heavenly Kings level to be able to tank Toriko's attacks and keep going. Here the thing is, man, speed. Can Toriko's attacks connect with Luffy? That's something you have to consider, and that's the first thing I consider. Especially when Luffy hits that gear second. Toriko has not really gone up against a speed guy. He hasn't. In all his fights, they've been, I'm not saying they've been slow, but at most superhuman speed, nothing of super fast caliber. Not somebody of Luffy speed, not even sonic, not even supersonic, hypersonic. We're talking hypersonic. Not only that, when you look at it, defensive capabilities, stamina, while Luffy has more stamina, it's not enough to blow him out the water. But here's the thing, reaction time is going to matter. Full armor cuts that down, so it doesn't matter as much as it once would have. But here's the second big point, besides speed, agility. Luffy's agility will wear the hell out of Toriko. It will wear him out, ladies and gentlemen. That will thus play into Toriko's stamina. And then it's over. When Toriko runs out of stamina, at one point you do have to add, that comes in his autophagy. Yes, if you add in Toriko's autophagy, but that only lasts for 5 minutes. Then he has to eat. This is a deathmatch. He ain't gonna have an opportunity. And and ladies and gentlemen, this is an unbiased approach. As I always say, Luffy is my favorite character in fiction right now. I love Toriko, obviously. He's my favorite character in the series Toriko. Not because he's the main character, but for different reasons. I review Toriko. I just put out a review of Toriko. So there's no clear bias. I just bring in the logic, reason, facts, and evidence. And that conclusion, out of all of it, I have to bring Luffy, Monkey D. Luffy, as the victor of this deathmatch. Don't expect a like, comment, and subscribe. Tell me y'all thoughts on this deathmatch. Do y'all agree or disagree with me? If you don't know about any of these characters, please get into both their mangas. They're both phenomenal. And yeah, man. Sorry that this deathmatch was supposed to happen last week, but Thanksgiving through schedule all kinds of off, and I just recently got back on schedule. So yeah, till next time, y'all. Peace. Y'all gonna love the next deathmatch. Hint, poison.